Hey everybody, welcome back to the Smoke Shack. This is Steven. Today I am bringing you a review on the Tabernacle Goliath from Foundation Cigars. This is a Connecticut Broadleaf wrapper, Mexican San Andrés binder, Nicaraguan and Honduran fillers here. It's a 5x58 Perfecto. Very good looking cigar here. As far as the presentation goes, I really like the maroon color with this wrapper. I also like how the gold really just pops here on the band. Really like the artwork done as well on the band. It's a 9 out of 10 here for me. Fantastic. Construction, 10 out of 10. It is just really well done. Extremely toothy wrapper. Very veiny, but just not a spot I could spot on this cigar that's just stretched or anything. Very good spring here as well. As far as the color goes, the toe is pretty vibrant, but we really can't see a whole lot because of that Perfecto shape, so it's not as vibrant as I would like. So a 7 out of 10 here on the color. An 8 out of 10 here on the color, because it does have the good vibrant color, just not a whole lot of it here. The Vitola, this Vitola itself, really do not like Perfectos. Really anything kind of torpedo-y, just not a fan of. I do like, however, the 5x58, just the size in general. So this is a 7 out of 10 for me as far as the Vitola, giving me a total craftsmanship score of 1.83 out of 2. Gonna go ahead and cut this and light this thing up. Wow, the dry draw is very heavy on aged cedar and hay, and that is a nice, solid, or perfect draw as far as the airflow. The aroma on the body, I'm really not picking up a whole lot. In fact, I really can't smell anything. Maybe some hay in there. These could have been sitting out in the humidor for a very long time. They do not come with cellophanes on them, so they should probably pick up a little bit more of an aged cedar scent, but I'm not really picking up much. The toe is very much an aged cedar. Definitely picks it up there in the fillers, but the wrapper, really not picking up anything. Gonna go ahead and light it up. A very heavy amount of black pepper to start here. A little bit of woody and nutty tones as well. They are quite harsh though. There is a hole that seems to be right there at the beginning of the cigar. Again, Perfectos, I just never have a good experience with them. I don't know why they call them Perfectos, because they are never perfect, but hopefully whenever we get past this, the cigar really picks up a little bit better, because the draw is rather loose right now, and it's all stemming from this hole right here in the bottom of the cigar. But going to go ahead and smoke this down to the end of the first third and then catch you back up with my thoughts. Hopefully the draw changes for the better. Hey, bringing you back in at about the end of the first third here of this cigar. Flavor profile is very well rounded here and very well balanced. Not a whole lot of richness of flavor, but here's the flavor profile breakdown for you. It's a lot of nutty notes in here, a heavy amount of oak, some bread, a fruit sweetness, and then some black pepper in there as well. Again, very well balanced. When I first lit this thing up though, it was a flavor bomb of black pepper, oak, and those nutty flavors, and they really were rather harsh there for just the first 3 or 4 puffs. Now that we're getting down more into this cigar, it's become a lot more balanced. But as far as the scoring goes here for the first third, the richness of flavor was about a 7 out of 10 here, or our intensity score. Enjoyability, Really just had a lot of issues with my draw here, and then obviously the richness of flavor just not being at the highest that it could be. Both of those play into my enjoyability score here of a 7 out of 10. Other than that, extremely well rounded and extremely well balanced, so very, very enjoyable on that end for me. So that's why it's ranking a little bit higher there on the 7. Complexity here, again, going back to that very well rounded flavor profile here, I do have a 10 out of 10 here for that complexity. Absolutely fantastic here. The finish, however, not super rich in flavor. Just kind of going back to the regular richness of flavor here in the first third. It is rather long, but just not super rich. There's some black pepper there that kind of lingers and crackles on your tongue, but again, not super rich. 7 out of 10. The draw here, I had a very tough draw. There is a hole there right in the middle of the cigar that I talked about, and I believe it is kind of coming down here throughout this first third. So a 6 out of 10 here for the draw. It was just really loose. Consistency, though, or the char line, was pretty close to perfect. It is a 9 out of 10 here is what I have it rated. And then that balance of the cigar, a 9 out of 10, as it is kind of a little bit too woody or a little bit too dry, but just slightly too dry, not too much. So 9 out of 10 here for that. Ash structure, this is what I like to see out of the ash. I mean, it looks perfect here. It is not coming off at all. It just looks great. A 10 out of 10 here for that ash structure. The ash color, however, not looking too great. A 6 out of 10 here. It's just really gray. Not a whole lot of whiteness popping through on that ash. Resting smoke, we're getting a lot of resting smoke coming right off the top here of the wrapper. It is a nice blue. As you can see, a whole lot of resting smoke coming off of there. However, we are getting some resting smoke coming out of the head, which does affect that score a little bit here for an 8 out of 10. Other than that, very much so what you want to see coming off of the char line here. The drawing smoke, I also am getting an 8 out of 10 just because of the looseness of that draw. But mouthfeel, 10 out of 10, temperature, 10 out of 10, and the aroma is phenomenal. It is really, really nice here in this room. Thick smoke, something that you can really smell. It's very woody there on the aroma, and 9 out of 10. First third score is an 8.13 for this cigar. I'm gonna go ahead and smoke it down to about the halfway point and then catch you back up with my thoughts. Bringing you back in at about the halfway point, or really towards the end of the second third here of this cigar. Flavor profile adds a lot of elements here, but maintains a lot of those same flavor notes from the first third. So we get chocolate, nutty, oak, fruit sweetness, molasses, and black pepper. So the addition of chocolate and molasses here in this third still have that nuttiness, the fruit sweetness, the oak, and the black pepper from the first third. But it is extremely well-rounded and extremely well-balanced here in this third. Does creep up in strength as well to a 9 out of 10 here for that. I'm sorry, not strength, but richness of flavor or intensity to a 9 out of 10. The enjoyability also peaks up because of that richness of flavor, the good balance, and also my draw here is now kind of becoming more ideal. A 9 out of 10 here for the enjoyability. Complexity, a 10 out of 10. It is a very well-rounded flavor profile here. The finish, an 8 out of 10. It is getting a lot more rich, some chocolate there on the finish, and it's still quite long, but not super long, so an 8 out of 10 here for that finish. Draw, an 8 out of 10. It has become a lot better here. It's tightened up and just doesn't have those loose pockets that it did early in that cigar. Consistency here, our char line, right there, as you can see on the camera, it's about a 9 out of 10, but I did have to touch this up just maybe 10 minutes ago before we came back on camera here. So a 7 out of 10 here just because I did have to touch it up. Combustion, a 10 out of 10. Very well balanced here from this cigar. Ash structure, phenomenal ash structure. Still is a 10 out of 10. Starting to peak maybe towards a 9 out of 10, but still for right now, Very, very solid ash structure. Ash color, very gray still, is 6 out of 10. The smoke assessment, really a lot similar to that first third. I think we're just getting a little bit better drawing smoke here. Is more of a 9 out of 10. I think everything else there is the exact same as the first third. So 8.96 for this second third. Gonna go ahead and smoke it down into the final third and then catch you back up with my final thoughts. Bringing you back in for the final third of this cigar. The flavor profile changes up just a tad bit here. We get the addition of espresso here. But really, the oak, molasses, black pepper, and chocolate just stay around just with the addition of espresso here in the final third. Not really a whole lot has evolved throughout the cigar. The flavor here, or the richness of flavor, is a 7 out of 10. It does peak down a little bit. Enjoyability really goes down big time here. It's a 6 out of 10. It is quite coarse on my mouth. It's very, very bitter on the espresso. Maybe it's not the bitterness from the espresso, but it is quite coarse here in the final third, which I typically get with kind of these Perfecto cigars as they're, rounding out on the bottom end. Just tends to happen all the time. Complexity here, though, still a very, very well-rounded flavor profile, a 9 out of 10. The finish, very coarse there on the finish, but still long in length, so a 7 out of 10 there. Draw, 9 out of 10 here. I'm still getting a very, very good draw. I know we had those soft pockets early on, but it's really picked up and it's got a good draw here. Consistency, or our char line, has been a little bit wavy here in this final third. It's an 8 out of 10 there for that consistency. The combustion, or the balance here, is a 7 out of 10. As I said, there is a little bit too much bitterness in there. Not overly bitter. The coarseness really takes over the whole flavor profile. Ash structure, still very, very good ash. Maybe just slightly getting a little bit flaky, a 9 out of 10, but really just solid ash throughout this whole cigar. Ash color, still a 6 out of 10, quite gray there. Got our resting smoke down here, is a 7 out of 10. Then our consistency, I apologize. The resting smoke was the 7 out of 10. The drawing smoke here, 9 out of 10. I'm still getting a lot of smoke out of this cigar. The mouthfeel has taken a big hit here to a 5 out of 10 because of the coarseness of flavor here in the final third. Temperature still really perfect here, 10 out of 10. Aroma, it's actually picked up an aroma. It's really, really nice here, 9 out of 10. One of the best aroma cigars that I've had. But the final third here is a 7.84 for the score. The strength here for this cigar really never hit those medium to full strength notes that it says here, or is listed as the cigar. I guess it does, maybe just on the very milder end of the medium to full. It is a 6 out of 10 here for strength. Again, just really didn't pick up much. It started out about a 4, maybe picked up to that 6. Just not a whole lot of jump there, so that's nice that there was a good consistency there in the strength. Our final score here for this cigar is an 8.31. These things MSRP for about $15.20. So our price per point score here is a 1.83 for this cigar. Really did have some fantastic flavors in it, but just I do not like this Vitola. The Vitola just seemed to create more problems than anything in the cigar. Just had the loose draw there early on. Just bad consistency there in the final third with the flavor, with the coarseness. I just feel like if they had a different Vitola here, it would just perform a lot better on our rating. But with that being said, still a very enjoyable cigar from my end, just up until this last part where it got quite coarse. The Vitola just provided a more reaction for me. I really like these Tabernacle, the Foundation Cigars products, especially the Tabernacle, the David. I really like the David a lot. The Goliath, though, I don't know if it's just got too much flavor in it or what. It's quite coarse here on the finish. Just did not have a good experience here. Still rated pretty high here for an 8.31, but just would like it to be higher, especially for that $15 price point for the MSRP. If you like the video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've hit our 100 subscriber goal. Thank you very much. We are now on our goal for 250 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button. We got some exciting giveaways coming for that 250. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time here on the Smoke Shack.